How's it going, everybody? Today we are going to be taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination E Hitch Bike Rack and how it fits on our 2021 Ford F-150. The Destination E is going to be designed for e-bikes at mine. It has a weight capacity of 70 pounds per bike. It's going to hold it up primarily with these trays and cradles down here on the bottom. And our primary point of contact is going to be these rotated padded jaws here on our center mast, which is going to hold our bike securely. But because it does make frame contact, we'd recommend not using this with carbon frame bikes. But because it is able to rotate so much, it should work for a lot of your alternative frame style bikes. We have 3 more points of contact down here, 2 straps in the front and 1 in the back. There are a lot of nice features about this rack. Included with the rack itself is going to be a ramp attachment. It doesn't integrate onto the rack, but we'll show you that a little bit later. The first thing we're going to do is tilt the rack away. It tilts really aggressively, and to access that, we're going to have to remove this hand knob here in the back, or just unthread it, push it forward, and now I'm going to hold on to the center mast and push it down, and it honestly does a lot of the work for you. So even at like 45 degrees, it's still helping out, which is going to be really nice if you get 2 70-pound bikes loaded up there. From here, we'll show you how close the tailgate is able to get. So right about there, it's going to eventually make contact. So if you have a tonneau cover, now would be a great time to grab anything out of the bed that you might need. Otherwise, back here, there is enough room if I need to reach something further in the back, or if I want to just sort of crouch here and change my shoes before or after the ride, I could do that. But for now, I'm going to lift back up on the back of this mast here and thread that back in. And now we can talk a little bit about that ramp. So I mentioned it doesn't integrate onto the rack, but it is really nice and robust, and it's wide enough to get our tire width, which we have a maximum of 4.5 inches up and down, telescopic, so you can change the angle that you want to load and unload your bikes. It just has this oval notch here, which we fit into one tab here in the back of the cradle. One of the unfortunate things about this ramp design, though, is that you can only put it on one or the other. You can't put it on all 4. So for now, if I wanted to roll this bike off, I could only put it on this side. And in the case of our shop here, I have that wall there. So I'm not actually going to use it in our case, but I just wanted to show you really quickly how it works. I am going to get my bike removed now, though, starting with this strap here in the back. Just press that button to release the strap. All 3 of the straps are going to have a rubber pad that goes across them to protect the tire, which is nice. And we'll get our front cradle strap undone, and then we'll go up to the jaws here up at the top. All I need to do is loosen this hand knob. Additionally, on this knob there is a lock core, so if we activate that, we won't be able to turn the knob, and our bike will be locked onto the rack. But for now, I am going to loosen it and widen those jaws up enough to get up and off of the frame of my bike, and I'll get this out of the way. From here, we can take another look at the trays and the cradles. So I did mention that the cradles themselves are able to support a tire width of 4.5 inches, but that overall wing design of the rack itself is going to help us support some different wheelbases as well. I'll put these straps back away, starting with our front 2, then moving on to the back. And then I could get a measurement now if I wanted to, if you want to drive with it in this position. So we'll do that very quickly. From the bumper to the furthest point back right now, it's going to be about 31 and a half inches. And because we do have that design where we angle down on either side, our ground clearance is going to be about 23 and a half inches. If we want to, though, we can get this mast folded down, which we'll do next. To do that, we're going to first have to remove these rubber strips or straps here in the back. Pull these levers down, and then we can fold this mast down like this, and we'll tighten these levers back up and replace these straps around the levers. And then once I get this, I'll give you another quick measurement just to see what it's like to add that extra length on there. If you'd rather drive with it in this position so that the mast isn't interfering with your backup camera or anything like that, you're going to be looking at closer to 40.5 inches. So we do add on a good amount of space that way. But from here, we do also have the ability to fold the rack up towards our tailgate. To do that, I'm first going to start by releasing this pin here on the side of the shank. And then I'm going to lift up on the rack just a little bit to slide that pin out. I'm going to step towards the back, lift up on the rack, and find where those holes realign right here on the shank. So we can replace the pin as well as the clip. And now we'll get a final measurement to see what it's like to live with it in this position. So now from the bumper to the furthest point out, it's going to be about 13.5 inches, so we definitely save a ton of space that way. The trade-off, though, is going to be what we're blocking on the back of the vehicle. So in this case, our backup camera is going to be pretty much right here in the middle. So these are able to slide, so if you want to get those out of the way, you'll have a nice little window actually to see through here. You're definitely going to know that this rack is back here, though, because it is pretty bulky. Our license plate's down here in the middle, kind of the same thing. It's mostly blocked, but there are going to be a few windows where you're going to be able to see around that. It does sit up pretty tall, but not really tall enough to go over our tailgate, and it's not going to interfere with our view out of our rear window. If we want to now, though, we can come down here and take a look at the shank. So what we have is a 2-inch shank that fits into our 2-inch hitch receiver. It's held in place by this pin with a lock core that's going to be key-to-like to that jaw lock we talked about for our frame. And it's all tightened down by this anti-rattle handle here. Just make sure that you leave it in a position where it's not diminishing your ground clearance. There's also a welded stop collar which helps you line it up, which is really nice. So as far as racks go that you're going to use with your e-bikes, this is definitely a really solid option. The ramp is really nice and robust, and it's easy to get our tires down it, but it is unfortunate that we have to remember to bring it and that it only stores on 2 of the 4 cradles. So if you do like that ramp option, you could check out something like the Yakima on-ramp. It also has a ramp attachment, but that ramp stores onto the rack and you can use it on all 4 cradles. The downside is that it's just a little bit more slender, so it's kind of harder to get those tires up and down. Whichever way you go, though, I do think that the Hollywood Rack's Destination E is a really nice choice, albeit it is a little bit bulky, but it's built well, and I think it gets the job done. This, again, was just a quick look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination E and how it fits on our 2021 Ford F-150.